Hey, Disturbed listeners, Chris and Paige, married at first sight. Let's watch.
Did you continue to have sex during this period?
Yeah.
Okay, talk to me about that, because I want to know where your frame of mind was and what was going on in your head.
This show is very focused on sex, I find. They have not focused on, of course the show is focused on sex, but the show is focused on a particular version of seeing sex, a particular morality or value system around sex, where I won't go into all the details because it's hard for me to read because I'm not there asking them questions, but the way it's talked about. And, well, maybe that's all I'll say because I don't want to speculate too much, but I will say that the way Pastor Cal, who I usually like the way he approaches things, I'm not a fan of the way he asked that question because Paige is saying that they were having some troubles, and Pastor Cal says, were you having sex during this time? One, that's a pretty invasive question, but it's a reality show. It's invasive. He asked the question. She says, yeah. And then he seems to be disapproving somehow, as if she has done something wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into it, but what does it really have to do with that? Like, there are bigger fish to fry right now, which is... So let me comment on this. I use these shows as a jumping off point. As a therapist, when people come to me, I'm interested in what the client wants, not what I want. And oftentimes, the way therapy is depicted in TV and movies, it's what the therapist wants, not what the client wants. And some therapists operate that way, which is unethical and not very good treatment. And some clients will even take to that because they're dependent and they need someone to tell them what to do. It doesn't usually work out. The client usually rebels. But there's a misunderstanding amongst a minority of clinicians in my anecdotal experience, and definitely in the popular media, and among some in the public, that clients come in, they tell me a bunch of things, and then I tell them what to do, or I interpret things, or I make value judgments, and I don't. So with her, if I were talking with her, I would listen and I would empathize and I would be there for her and we would talk about it as long as she wants to talk about it. And then I might ask the question, what do you want to do? Given the situation, what do you want? And she might say, I don't know what I want. And then I'd say, okay, well, let's explore it. I would never insert my value into that because, one, that's bad therapy because it doesn't give the client a chance to explore it themselves. And two, what do I know about what Paige should do in this situation? Now, there are some decisions that are egregious that I might be able to comment on, but not usually. Usually I'm wanting the client to run their own lives. And for a helper to impose some kind of path for the helpee is to risk making them dependent, risk making them rebel against you if they don't really do that, or rushing them or something. And so that's what I do. Often on the show, though, they seemingly, even Pastor Cal, the therapist, the professor of social work or sociology, Pepper Swartz, at UW, my alma mater, by the way, is the agenda they seem to have is to push them together, is to keep them married, which isn't what helping in my book is. Helping isn't bringing your own agenda to it, having some vested interest in making someone do something. That's not helping. That's, to some extent, manipulation or some sort of power struggle with someone, or thinking you know what's best for other people. Because I don't know, but behind the scenes, I have a feeling that the show, they're interested in having a good track record with people staying together. And I think they also want the show to last the whole season. If people break up in session 7, then they don't have any material left to have all the episodes. And so I suspect that there's pressure on the experts to pressure the people together. So let's watch and see if that is present. Now, I think Pastor Cal, in the past, when I saw him, sometimes he would do that, and sometimes he would listen and just be with the people where they're at. Let's see what happens.
So we've had sex pretty much every single day, with the exception of probably 2 or 3 days. Yeah, 2 or 3 days.
So what is that disappointment face? What is he disappointed with? From my understanding, Chris and Paige, they get married. Chris is like, I don't know if I'm into you, but let's try to make this work. And that means conversations, it means hanging out, it means making jokes, it means having dinner together, and it means to them, which is fine, maybe not to every couple, but to them it meant let's have sex and let's try to bond that way. And then at some point in that process, he tells Paige that he has a kid coming along the way. But Paige thinks, well, as I don't know if I show the clip, Paige is like, I've been with men before who had other kids. I'm okay with that. I don't mind being a stepmom. And so they continue to have sex. And then at some point he says, after the honeymoon, he says, I think I want a divorce. They didn't have sex after that point. So what is Pastor Cal bothered by? She's like, yeah, we had sex during the whole honeymoon while we were married, while we thought we would be married forever. And Pastor Cal's like, oh. So what is he upset? Is he upset for the morality of it? Is he upset for Paige's sake? Is that why he's upset? But given where they were each step of the way, now you could say that Chris is some sort of master manipulator, that he never intended on being with Paige, which I don't think is true, and he was just using her for sex or something. Maybe that's what that face is, but I don't know. This the way this show kind of approaches sex. It's let's just say it's different from my values.
Were you protected?
No.
Yeah.
Ever.
Paige,
At that point, Paige is like, we're married and we want to have kids. So unprotected sex, let's go for it. What is wrong with what Paige did? Why would you shame someone in a situation like that? Why would you shame someone in any situation? But she didn't know about him wanting a divorce until after the honeymoon was over. So why is it, oh, Paige, what's wrong with you? I don't understand. Maybe Pastor Cal will explain. If he were here, I'd ask him. I'd be like, tell me, Pastor Cal, what are you thinking? What's the disappointment? What's the shame here? Or what's the worry that you're having? Now, you could argue, I suppose, that Paige should have been more thoughtful about family planning, given that the relationship wasn't exactly sure. But from the beginning, the two of them were talking like, we got married under God. We are going to be together forever. I think they really thought that in the first few days, particularly her. So I don't understand what the disappointment is.
I know.
Love, Paige, talk to me, honey. Why?
He was just like, hey, off the record, I just want to let you know that, me and the mother of my child are going to move forward. I still am in love with her. She's in love with me.
Okay, so if that is true, which we don't have any reason to doubt, if that is true, if you told anyone this situation, because I'm predicting this is going to go a different way, if you told anyone this situation of, so there's this couple and they had kind of a rocky relationship, but they really loved each other. They broke up, and then one of the guys goes on this reality TV show and where he is hooked up with this other woman who he's not attracted to. And then a couple days in, he finds out that his ex is married or is pregnant. And he thinks about it. He doesn't know what to do, but then he decides, I'm going to break up with this person that I'm not attracted to. I've only known for about a week. I'm going to go back with my ex and try to work things out, and we're going to raise our kid together. I think most people would be, wow, yeah, it's a tough situation. I feel bad for the person on the reality TV show, but yeah, makes sense. You're going to go back with your ex. There's potential there, and you're going to raise your kid together. The kid would probably benefit from that. But I'm guessing that we're not going to see it. Now, I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. I'm just saying that's an option. That's not a bad option. Let Paige go. Let Chris try this, thing. Let him try to raise his kid with in a family married to, the parents being married. But I'm guessing we're going to see a different spin on that decision by Chris.
When we talk to women and men who have, these aspirations of being married and happily ever after, I take that seriously. I do this. This is not just what I do for TV. Okay, I counsel people. I mean, I talk to couples. I marry people. You know, I help them stay together. This is what I do.
All right, so he's telling us what he does with his profession, which is he tries to keep people together. All right, but do they want to be together? I keep couples together as well, but only if they want me to keep them together. If they want me to keep them together, then I help them. If they're ambiguous about it, then I explore. You know, I've done that a lot with couples where one of them or both will be extremely ambivalent about the relationship, 9 toes out of the door. And I'll say, what do you want me to do? You know, do you want to try to improve your relationship so that you can be together forever? And one or both of them will say, I'm not really sure if I even want to be in this relationship. Then I switch to a different mode and I say, okay, then we're going to spend a lot of time exploring. If it's just one person, then with that one person, there's a lot of conversations, and the other person might not even be a participant, just observing the conversation, where I'm asking the person, what do you want out of a relationship? Do you see this thing changing? What do you need to see happen to change? How badly are things going? You know, have you lost all spark? Have you lost all love? Do you have any kind of a thread of love there? And it's a lot of exploration. It takes a lot of time. But according to Cal, he's saying that maybe that's all that he does is try to keep people together based on maybe what people ask him to do. I don't know.
For me, it's a thing of, it's tough having somebody raise your kid. And
I mean, if it's your kid, it's your kid. You can raise your kid. But that's a different ball game between saying, I want to be with the mother.
All right, so that's interesting. His first response, and he said this before, and maybe this is the only thing he said, is the reason why he is thinking about leaving Paige and being with his ex is because he doesn't want another man raising his child. And Pastor Cal brings up a good point. You can raise your child. You will raise your child. And maybe there will be a stepdad also raising your child. But just being with her just for that reason doesn't seem like a very good reason. Now, that's a value judgment. As a therapist, I would never say that. I wouldn't even think it. If these were my clients and he said that to me, that was why he wanted to get back together with his ex, then I just, okay, you know, that's your choice. Now, if we got into it, I might say, I might explore how in love are you with this person? How likely do you think this relationship is going to work? Because that one reason you keep citing might not carry the day when you have conflict with her. But I would never say, and thus you shouldn't be with her. But anyway, Cal brings up a good point.
I feel like this whole process just was a thing of, hey, maybe I am still in love with her. So I think that it's best to separate, to divorce.
All right, so if I heard that as a therapist or as a friend or as any role, and I heard that he doesn't happen to be in love with the person that he met a week ago. Okay, that makes sense. He might actually have love for this person and they are going to raise a child together. They are pregnant together. Then I would say, yeah, makes sense to me. I think a lot of people would applaud that. Now, Paige isn't going to applaud it, and Paige's friends aren't going to applaud it. This show isn't going to applaud it, but it makes a lot of sense to me. Having said all that, it makes total sense that Paige would be incensed by this, that she would be extreme, because it isn't just that they met 7 days ago, they got married, which was a big deal to the two of them and big deal to most people, particularly I think to them, given the way that they see a higher power. And so both are true. Paige can be incensed, and we can be incensed for Paige. We can be angry at Chris for not disclosing. I don't know if I show this clip, but he had sex with his ex while they were going through the vetting process for the show. And the expectation, I think, on the show is once you enter the vetting process, you will not have any relationships with any other people. Now, how many of the people on the show break that rule? I'm guessing a fair amount, honestly, but who knows? So, you know, I just think it's a tough situation. I mean, just think about the kid, the unborn kid. if Chris and his ex can make it work, which it sounds like he believes that he can make it work, then how great would that be? That the family would work out. Anyway, I don't know why I feel like I have to defend at least that line of thinking of Chris. I think it's because this show has proven me before that they are not going to at least be open to that idea that Chris is putting forth. But I want to be clear that Paige seems like a wonderful person, doesn't deserve this, is being treated badly, 100%.
I don't know your ex. I know nothing about her. But you broke up with her.
Yes, sir.
For a reason.
Yes, sir.
But you're saying now that reason.
See, he is trying to, like a lawyer, make a case for why he shouldn't be with the mother of his unborn child. He's saying, hey, you broke up with her for a reason. Again, it's not an irrational point, but if you only bring up points on one side of the scale, then you'd clearly have an agenda. It's just a guess.
You've dragged me basically this week emotionally on a roller coaster of being hot and cold with me. I don't know where you are. Okay.
I was very direct with you. Very direct with the
So when you
producers.
told her that you were in love with your ex, or then you told her you wanted to make it work, and then you said you didn't want to make it work.
Right. Have you heard of indecision? Have you heard of ambiguity? Have you heard of ambivalence? It was again, I don't know, I'm sure everyone watching right now hates me for defending Chris, but I will, because he goes on this show, I think with good intentions. I don't know his mind, but I think, and maybe he didn't, because he didn't seem open to Paige from the beginning. But anyway, I think there's a possibility that he went on the show with good intentions. And he's trying to make it work, and it seemed like it was building. Attraction was building, and it takes a while. I think within a few days, he's like, yeah, I think I'm getting attracted to you now. And then boom, he gets hit with this news, and he's now considering going back with his ex. So yes, and during those few days, he was like not knowing what to do. On one hand, he's like, oh, I should stay married. Oh, I should go back with my ex. Yeah, it takes a while to figure that out. I'm surprised that it didn't take him longer to figure it out, because usually that's what happens. Anyway, so I don't know why I feel like someone needs to defend him. So when people are asking me to watch this couple, I was getting the impression from the comments, because I did a poll on YouTube, and people were commenting like Chris was really a piece of work. So I think I feel like I need to say all these words to somehow like defend my defense of at least this aspect of Chris. I'm not defending all of Chris. I'm defending at least the flexibility or the ambiguity that he had about a very difficult situation. Anyway.
But it wasn't the case.
It wasn't the case that you guys had. Oh, you're saying she wanted it?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay. Chris, come on, man. I thought this is what you wanted.
No, I did.
So.
Yes, that's what he wanted, until he found out that his ex was pregnant. I don't understand why that is a hard idea to understand. Yes, before he knew his ex was pregnant, I think, at least he was saying, and I think there was enough evidence to point in the direction that he wanted to go on a show and potentially find his soulmate. And then he found out his ex was pregnant, and that changed everything. And so he made a different decision. I don't understand why. That's hard to understand.
Do you want a divorce?
I mean, it all boils down to like, he still has feelings for her. And I'm clearly not fitting in this equation.
Right.
Right. Yeah. If I was Paige, I think I would feel the same way. I'd feel like, well, he says he's in love with her. They just broke up not that long ago. And so, if anything, they just had this small period of time where they weren't together. Now they're pregnant. He wants to go back with her. C'est la vie. Bon voyage. See ya. This will suck for me because there's some pain there, but, let bygones be bygones.
I felt like this was the right decision for myself and Paige. At
What was the right decision?
To divorce.
To divorce. Okay.
Thank you, Pastor Cal.
Come on.
Okay, so maybe my assumptions were wrong. Cal seems to be at least not anti the decision that Chris is making. So maybe I was making a lot of assumptions. I think the last season that y'all had me watch, it kind of, I don't know, I feel like it got under my skin somehow. Like where if I really evaluate it, I think it's, okay, I'll say two things. One is that I feel like the show, not only the producers, the way they would edit things, but the three experts were, I think, rather pushy with some of the individuals in situations where it was clear that the relationship was completely a bad match. And it seemed to me that the experts and the show were interested in prolonging it, or at least trying to force them together, because their egos were on the line. As experts, it would make them look bad if they matched people up and they weren't a good match. Also, the show wants to continue the episodes, right? So I think that really got under my skin. I think I felt bad for some of the cast members, the Mindys of the world, who were kind of coerced by outside forces to stay in a relationship that was like clearly incompatible from day one, by the way. Mindy and Zach were incompatible. When you see the whole thing, they were never a good couple from the very beginning. I think everyone would agree on that. But I think another part of this is me personally. I don't like it when people tell other people what to do. I don't like it when people tell me what to do. I don't like it when people evaluate my decisions when I feel like I'm the one living this life. And I feel that on behalf of these individuals when these experts, because the cast members really respect the experts. I think particularly Pastor Cal. I think for good reason, but I feel like they're being pressured in a way, and I don't like being pressured personally. So maybe that's what's going on, because I feel particularly triggered by some of the tone of the show sometimes, like moments like this. Anyway, let's continue watching.
You're going to be incredible. You're going to be an incredible woman, okay? After meeting with Chris and Paige, I am not a big fan of this marriage staying together. Make good decisions.
Yes, sir.
All right?
Yes, sir.
All right. I normally will fight tooth and nail for a marriage. Not this one.
Okay, so, all right. He's saying, I don't think this is a good idea. And, okay, so he is flexible. I wasn't giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Chris is whispering that his fear is falling in love with me. Don't say that to me.
Okay, so on one hand, he apologized up and down and said, I can't apologize to you enough. It seems sincere. Then he seems like he wants a divorce. He wants to get back together with his ex-fiancée, as he puts it. Then he whispers in his ear, presumably because he doesn't want it to be picked up on mic, because he I didn't show those scenes, but he refused to be on camera for a while. He turned off his microphone, so I think he wants some privacy, which makes sense. But he whispers in her ear that he is worried he's going to fall in love with her. So now we're looking at a weirder situation, because up until that moment, a lot of this made sense to me. He has a tumultuous relationship. They break up. They have a rocky, chaotic ending. He's like, I just need to find someone else. He goes on this show. He finds someone. He's not that attracted to her, but he's trying to make it work. Then he finds out the pregnancy of his ex-fiancée. He feels like, well, I should try to make it work, and tries to get back together. Okay, that all scans. But then when it's all done, basically this meeting right now was the end. It was over. He says divorce. She says, yeah, makes sense to me. Let's get a divorce. Then he whispers in her ear, I think I'm falling in love with you, or I'm worried I'm going to fall in love with you. Where does that come from? Does he struggle with indecision? Is he playing some sort of weird, totally effed up game? What is happening? And I'm wondering if this is a pattern we're going to see. Hopefully not.
It's everywhere with this situation. Why can't we be just normal, boring ass couple?
So one hypothesis, complete shot in the dark, is that for him, he, going way back, before he was even on the show, wanted some way out of the pain or the conflict or the chaos of his relationship with his ex-fiancée. And so he's running from his fear or pain or something, and he runs into the show, but he's not really intending to go on the show to meet someone that he wants to marry. And then he finds someone, and there's some conflict there, some tension, some worry, some anxiety. And then he finds out that his ex is pregnant, and he runs from Paige back to his ex-fiancée. And then he gets clear of that, and the anxiety goes down, and then now he's scared of something else. So now he's running back to Paige. At this point, who knows what else is involved in the situation? But I don't know. It's a total shot in the dark. But I'm trying to figure out why he would flip-flop so much. Maybe we'll find some more data.
Okay, I'm gonna walk away now.
All right.
All right, well, that does it for that episode of Psychology in Seattle. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself and take care of others, because we all deserve it. We really, really do.